The camera drifts slowly down a quiet North Yorkshire street. The kind that looks perfectly ordinary during the day but feels strangely hollow at dusk. Streetlights flicker as though something in the air interferes with them. The wind pushes dry leaves across the pavement, creating a faint scratching that sounds too deliberate to be natural. The shot comes to a stop in front of a small, Victorian house with peeling blue paint and boarded upper windows. Number 9, Hawthorn Lane. The camera holds there for a moment, long enough for the viewer to notice how unnaturally dark the attic window is, as if the light refuses to enter it. In a low, almost breathless tone, the narrator whispers, "They say the girl who lived here never grew older. Not in 10 years. Not in 20, and no one ever understood why." The screen cuts to a sequence of unsettling flashes. A child's school uniform, splattered with old dust, a drawing of a woman with stretched arms, a small wooden music box playing by itself, and finally, the silhouette of a little girl standing behind that attic window. Then everything goes silent before the narrator adds, "But last winter, someone heard her laughing again." The story begins with an introduction to the neighborhood, a peaceful, almost storybook-like part of North Yorkshire, where people greet each other across trimmed hedges, and nothing unusual ever happens. Yet despite the normality, everyone on the lane avoids walking too close to number 9. Some say it's cursed, others say it's haunted, but all of them say the same thing. Something inside has been waiting for years. 20 years ago, a girl named Emily Marlowe lived there with her parents. She was 9 years old, bright, cheerful, and known for her little red coat that she wore everywhere. Then, one stormy winter night, she vanished inside her own home without leaving a single footprint or clue behind. Police eventually closed the case, insisting she must have run away, but the neighbors disagreed. Many claimed they continued to see a small shadow moving behind the attic curtains long after the family abandoned the house. Others heard humming during the night, the same tune Emily used to sing on her way to school. Even stranger, every year on her birthday, a soft light appeared in the attic, even though the electricity was completely cut off. Now, after so many years, new reports are emerging again. Someone walking home last winter swore they heard a child laughing from inside the boarded house, and that's where our investigation begins, uncovering who Emily really was, what happened to her the night she disappeared, and why she never grew up. Number 9, Hawthorn Lane, stands in the middle of a quiet North Yorkshire street, yet it feels completely cut off from the world around it. The houses next to it look lived in and warm, with curtains moving gently and lamps glowing softly. But number 9 remains silent, sealed behind peeling blue paint and windows that seem to absorb the light rather than reflect it. People walking past often describe a strange heaviness, as if the air becomes thicker the moment they step near its boundary. Birds avoid the roof, dogs refuse to go near the gate, and children are told not to play on that part of the pavement. For 20 years, the house has remained locked, untouched, and watched from a distance. Not because the council marked it unsafe, but because the locals believe there is something inside still awake. In the evening, when the street quiets down and the wind echoes through narrow lanes, some residents claim they hear soft tapping from inside the boarded windows, like small fingers drumming a rhythm only the house understands. Others have seen a faint glow in the attic, flickering just long enough to be noticed before disappearing again. No one, that is, investigate because everyone knows the story of the girl who never grew up. Emily Marlowe. Emily Marlowe was 9 years old when everything changed. She lived in the house with her father, Thomas, a quiet carpenter known for keeping to himself, and her mother, Margaret, who had been ill for months before her sudden death. After Margaret passed, neighbors noticed Emily became withdrawn, often seen sitting alone in the garden, whispering to herself. When asked who she was talking to, she would smile softly and say, "Mom sits with me. She still plays with me in the attic." Most people assumed this was grief, a child's way of coping. But her teachers reported something more troubling: Emily's drawings. She sketched a tall woman with arms too long to be human, standing in the attic doorway with a crooked smile. The teachers showed the drawings to her father, but Thomas insisted. Emily simply had a vivid imagination. After school, Emily spent most of her time in the attic, despite her father claiming he kept it locked. She would come down covered in dust, humming a lullaby Margaret used to sing late at night. Neighbors heard soft footsteps running overhead, followed by a child's laughter. Even before her disappearance, some quietly believed the house had begun to keep hold of her. It was the coldest night of the year, a winter storm so fierce that trees bent under the force of the wind. The street was silent, except for the rattling of loose shutters. Around midnight, the neighbor heard repeated knocking from inside number 9, like tiny hands tapping on a door. Assuming the storm was shaking something loose, they ignored it. But at 3:17 a.m., several residents woke to the sound of a little girl giggling from the attic. The laughter was soft, almost playful, but carried a strange echo, as though more than one voice was mixed into the sound. Thomas later said Emily had gone to bed early and that he himself had fallen asleep in the living room. When he woke up in the morning, her bed was empty. The front and back doors were locked from the inside. Her shoes were still by the door. Nothing was disturbed, nothing broken. Only one thing stood out. The attic door was shut tightly and cold to the touch, far colder than the rest of the house. Emily was nowhere to be found, and no one saw her leave. It was as if she had simply vanished into the walls of the home she loved. Police arrived within the hour, beginning one of the strangest missing child cases in the region. They searched every room, every cupboard, every corner of the attic. No forced entry, no footprints outside, no signs of struggle. Emily's clothes remained neatly folded, her favorite red coat hung by the door untouched. The entire house felt frozen in time. But in the attic, they discovered something unsettling. A small handprint on the inside of the dusty window. The print was fresh, perfectly defined, and smaller than any adult hand. Officers were confused. The dust on the attic floor showed no footprints at all, meaning someone would have had to hover directly to the window to place it. They questioned Thomas for hours. He insisted he never allowed Emily into the attic, and that he had kept the door locked since Margaret's death. When asked why neighbors heard laughter from there, he nervously claimed it must have been the wind. But the handprint told a different story. As days passed with no progress, the town grew restless. After 2 weeks, the case went cold. The police eventually suggested Emily ran away. The neighbors didn't believe it for a second, not with the attic light appearing every year on her birthday. Within months of Emily's disappearance, Thomas left the town without explanation. The house was sealed, but something inside refused to stay quiet. Over the next year, strange reports continued to surface. One family who attempted to move in lasted only 3 nights. They described objects shifting on their own, the sound of tiny footsteps running across the ceiling, and a soft, childlike humming echoing down the hallway at exactly 3:17 a.m. The same time Emily was last heard laughing. Another family, unaware of the house's past, reported seeing a girl as silhouette in the attic window, even though they had moved their children into the upstairs rooms yet. Tenants came and went, each leaving quickly, some refusing to talk about what they experienced. Local kids dared each other to touch the front gate at night, but most never made it closer than the footpath. The place gained a reputation for being frozen in time, as though the moment Emily disappeared, the house stopped aging. Paint peeled, yet remained the same year after year. Curtains frayed, but never tore. And always, there was the faint sound of humming from the attic, heard only when the street was completely still. In recent years, with cameras becoming common, people started capturing strange activity around number 9. A teenager recorded a clip during a late-night dare, showing a small pale face peeking from behind the attic curtain before vanishing instantly. Another resident walking his dog reported hearing a little girl whisper, "Are you coming to play?" even though no children lived nearby. When he looked up, he saw the curtain slowly moving, as if someone had just released it. Delivery drivers avoided the house after multiple incidents where packages left outside were found moved or rearranged into patterns resembling childish play. On Halloween, a group of kids claimed to hear giggling behind the front door. One boy insisted he saw a girl in an old-fashioned nightdress, standing in the hallway with her head slightly tilted as though curious. The most disturbing account came from a woman living directly opposite the house. She said that at exactly 3:17 a.m., she saw a girl's shadow cast on the attic curtain. Small, still imperfectly shaped, but when she checked again, seconds later it had grown longer, stretching unnaturally across the window. She stays with her blinds closed. Now, in 2023, a group of urban explorers decided to break into number 9, determined to uncover the truth. They entered just after midnight, filming everything. Inside, the house felt unnaturally cold. Breath visible in the air despite mild weather outside. Dust covered every surface, yet small footprints, child-sized, appeared fresh on the floorboards. The explorers followed them upstairs, their torches shaking as the temperature dropped further. Reaching the attic, they found the door slightly open for the first time in years. Inside was a small bed decorated with faded pink sheets, toys lined up in perfect symmetry, and a music box resting in the corner. Someone wound it recently. It began playing the same lullaby. Emily was known for humming. On the wooden floor sat a journal with the final line written in shaky handwriting. "Mom says, I will stay 9 forever." Suddenly, footsteps echoed behind them. Rapid, light, unmistakably belonging to a child. One of the explorers whispered that he felt someone tug his sleeve. The camera caught a brief glimpse of a small figure darting across the doorway. Their footage ended abruptly, the final frame showing the attic window, glowing faintly from within. Today, number 9, Hawthorn Lane remains sealed, but the town still refuses to walk near it after dark. Many believe Emily's spirit is trapped between this world and another, frozen at 9 years old by grief, loneliness, or something far darker that lingered in the attic long before she was born. Others say it wasn't Emily who never grew up. It was the house. The house itself seemed to hold her, keeping her laughter, her presence, her shadow alive, repeating the same moment endlessly. Residents still report seeing a small silhouette in the attic window every few weeks, especially on stormy nights. The sound of humming sometimes drifts through the street, carried by the wind, soft yet unmistakably childlike. On her birthday each year, a faint warm light glows behind the attic boards. No electricity, no wiring, no explanation. Some say Emily is waiting for someone to play with. Others say she's searching for her mother, still believing she's nearby, and a few whisper that the figure they see isn't Emily at all, but something wearing her shape. Whatever the truth is, one thing remains certain. If you ever find yourself on Hawthorn Lane, don't look up at the attic window. She might already be looking at you. As we leave Hawthorn Lane behind, one thing becomes clear. Some mysteries don't fade with time. They settle into the walls, into the floorboards, into the cold breath of a forgotten room. Emily Marlowe's story is no longer just about a missing girl. It is about a house that refuses to let go, a moment trapped so tightly that even decades cannot loosen its grip. Whether Emily's spirit still lingers, or whether something else has taken her place, the truth remains hidden behind the same attic door that closed 20 years ago. Residents here have learned not to question the shadows. They keep their blinds shut after midnight. They walk a little faster, past the peeling blue gate, and they whisper warnings to anyone new who asked about number 9. Because the house listens it, always and sometimes, on the coldest nights, it answers with the soft laughter of a child who should have grown up long ago. So if you ever find yourself in North Yorkshire, wandering down a quiet street with the wind pressing against your back, remember this story, and whatever you do, don't look up at the attic window of the house on Hawthorn Lane. If the silhouette moves, it's already too late.